Look at your arms right now. Look at your legs. You are, from a biological standpoint, an absolute disaster. You are a tropical primate, hardwired for the relentless, humid heat of the African savanna. And yet, here you are, sitting in a room that would have triggered hypothermia in your ancestors in a matter of hours. You have no fur. You have no thick, insulating blubber layer like a harp seal or a walrus. You are, for all intents and purposes, a naked ape standing in a world that is fundamentally trying to freeze you to death. And yet, you are comfortable. You are likely sitting in a climate-controlled room, protected by layers of synthetic fabric that keep your core temperature at a steady, consistent 37 degrees Celsius. But have you ever stopped to actually consider how bizarre that is? Think about the implications. Every other animal on this planet is born with its own permanent winter gear. A wolf doesn't walk into a boutique to buy a coat. A polar bear doesn't panic when the first frost hits. They simply grow a thicker undercoat and store a massive reserve of fat. They are built for their environment. Humans, however, gave up on biology and hacked the system. We outsourced our survival to a needle, a thread, and an ingenious ability to repurpose the dead. But why? When did we make the conscious decision that our own skin simply wasn't enough? And more importantly, how did a handful of hairless primates look at the encroaching ice and decide that by stripping the hides off other animals, they could conquer the entire planet?
The answer isn't just found in a dusty cave painting or a forgotten pile of fossils. It is written in the genome of a parasite that has been obsessively stalking us for hundreds of thousands of years. If you want to pin down the exact moment humans started wearing clothes, don't look for an old needle in the dirt. Look for lice, specifically the body louse. You see, head lice have evolved to hold on to the specific diameter of human scalp hair. They are perfectly content living on your head. But body lice, they are fundamentally different. They are specialized creatures that cannot hold on to hair shafts. They require fabric. They need to live within the fibers of a woven shirt or a pair of trousers, and they only venture onto your skin for the sole purpose of feeding. This is an incredible evolutionary timestamp. It means the very moment our ancestors started wearing consistent, permanent clothing, the body louse, a mutation of the head louse, could finally exist. Geneticists have run the molecular clock back on these parasites for decades. By comparing the divergence between head and body lice DNA, researchers have landed on a startling window, somewhere between 70,000 and 170,000 years ago. That is your answer. We didn't start wearing clothes because we wanted to follow a fashion trend or look professional. We started wearing them because the climate was shifting violently, and we were effectively forced into an evolutionary corner. It was either wear the skin of another animal or face the cold and die.
But here is where the story gets visceral. It wasn't just about throwing a rug over your shoulders. If you've ever been in a truly hostile, sub-zero environment, you know that a loose drape is a death sentence. A loose hide allows warm air to escape from the neck, the armpits, and the waist. It's drafty, it's inefficient, and when you are staring down an ice age wind that can induce frostbite in under 10 minutes, that inefficiency is a terminal error. To actually survive, they had to invent the concept of the garment. They had to invent tailoring. Around 30,000 years ago, we see the widespread appearance of the eyed needle, crafted from bird bone, mammoth ivory, or polished wood. It sounds like a simple tool, almost trivial, but in the context of human survival, it is arguably more transformative than the steam engine or the printing press, because that needle meant you could finally fit a garment to a human body. It meant you could create articulated seams. It meant you could seal your body inside a personal, portable, windproof microclimate. Suddenly, you weren't just a person carrying a heavy, frozen pelt. You were a person existing inside an artificial, tailored shelter. Imagine a hunter 25,000 years ago at a site like Kostienki in Russia.
He is not wearing a primitive drape. He is wearing a sophisticated, multi-layered system. The inner layer is soft, fine-haired fur, perhaps from a fox or a hare, placed against the skin to trap moisture and heat. The outer layer is a heavy, durable hide, perhaps reindeer, meticulously scraped clean of subcutaneous fat and cured with a mixture of animal brains and liver fats, a process known as brain tanning.
This process ensures the leather remains supple and water-resistant, even after being frozen and thawed, preventing the coat from turning into a stiff, brittle board. He is wearing mittens sewn tight at the wrist and boots made of thick leg hide that are laced to prevent a single degree of warmth from escaping. He is, for all intents and purposes, wearing a tactical spacesuit made of mammoth and wolf. But this transition wasn't just about the physics of heat retention. It was about the psychology of the tribe. When you start tailoring, you start signaling. In a landscape that was brutally competitive, where every single calorie spent was a calorie that needed to be replaced, clothing became the first visual language. It was tribal armor. It told the people from the next valley over exactly who you were, what your group status was, and that you were part of a lineage that knew how to work together. It signaled that you were fed, that you were organized, and that you were dangerous. And that is where the real evolutionary edge lay. Consider the Neanderthals, our rugged, physically powerful cousins who shared Europe with us. They were dealing with the same sub-zero misery. But there is compelling archaeological evidence suggesting their clothing was significantly less integrated, more of a wrap than a garment. When the climate shifted and the ice sheets of the last glacial maximum moved further south, the humans who could innovate, the ones who could calculate how to pattern a hide into a fitted suit, didn't just survive, they thrived. We essentially outdressed the competition, taking over territories that were previously considered impossible for a human to occupy. Think about the sheer, jarring insanity of that. We took the raw, chaotic materials of the environment, the fur of the apex predator, the hide of the herbivore, the bones of the giant, and we re-engineered them to bypass our own biological limitations. We transitioned from being a species that was trapped by geography to a species that could walk out of the tropical sun and into the heart of a continental glacier. We stopped being a type of animal defined by our habitat, and we started being an environment-agnostic force of nature. And we never stopped. Look at what you are doing right now. You are wearing clothes designed for a specific climate, a specific social setting, and a specific aesthetic preference. You are still that same tropical ape, obsessing over the fit of your own artificial skin. But we have migrated from the bone needle to synthetic high-performance fibers that can keep you alive at the summit of Everest or in the middle of a blizzard. We used to be the only thing in the frozen waste that absolutely shouldn't have been there. We were the wrong animal in the wrong place at the worst possible time. But we had the one cognitive edge that mattered. We realized that if nature wouldn't provide us with a fur coat, we would simply rip one off someone else and make it fit. So the next time you feel a bit of a chill and reflexively pull your jacket tight, understand that you aren't just reacting to the weather. You are performing an ancient, deeply ingrained human ritual that stretches back over 100,000 years. You are using the culmination of tens of thousands of years of human genius to keep your fragile tropical body from shutting down. We didn't just adapt to the Ice Age. We designed our way right out of it. And in doing so, we changed what it meant to be a biological entity on this planet forever. We stopped being mere participants in the environment, and we started wearing it. We became the masters of our own climate, one stitch at a time.